My dear friend, I am so grateful that you are here with me today. There is something so beautiful about this moment we are sharing together, something sacred about your willingness to open your heart to possibility. Right now, as you listen to these words, you are exactly where you need to have. You may not feel that way. Many of us carry such heavy loads from yesterday, from last week, from years gone by. But I want you to know that your presence here today tells me something wonderful about you. It tells me that somewhere deep inside, you still believe that change is possible, that healing can happen, that life can be different. I know you may be feeling tired, tired of the same old patterns, tired of the same old hurts, tired of feeling stuck in stories that no longer serve you. Perhaps you wake up each morning and feel like you are carrying a backpack full of rocks, rocks of regret, stones of sadness, boulders of blame. And maybe you have been carrying this weight for so long that you have forgotten what it feels like to walk freely, to move through your days with lightness and joy. This is not your fault, my darling. None of us were taught how to let go. None of us came into this world with an instruction manual that said, here is how you release the past and step into your power. We learned to hold on because holding on felt safe. We learned to grip tightly to our stories because our stories became our identity. We learned to stay attached to our pain because our pain felt familiar, and familiar felt like home. But today, right here in this moment, we are going to explore something different together. We are going to look at the possibility that this very moment, not tomorrow, not next week, not when everything in your life is perfect, but this moment right now contains all the power you need to begin again. This moment holds the key to your freedom. This moment is where your new life begins. I want to speak to you the way I would speak to my dearest friend, because that is what you are to me. You are part of this beautiful human family, and your healing matters, your peace matters, your joy matters. And I am here to remind you of something you may have forgotten. You have the power to change your life. You have always had this power, even when it felt like you didn't. Even when life felt overwhelming and impossible, the power was there, waiting patiently inside you, waiting for you to turn toward it with gentle attention. So take a deep breath with me now. Let your shoulders soften, let your jaw relax, let your whole being settle into this moment of possibility. We are not going to rush anywhere. We are not going to force anything. We are simply going to open our hearts to what wants to be born in this sacred space between what was and what can be. The truth is, most of us hold on to the past not because we want to, but because we don't know any other way to be. From the time we were small children, we began collecting experiences, storing them away in the library of our minds. Some of these experiences were beautiful, moments of love, wonder, connection. Others were painful, times when we felt hurt, rejected, misunderstood, and our brilliant minds, trying to protect us, began to create patterns based on these experiences. Our minds became like very devoted filing clerks, carefully organizing every experience into categories, safe or dangerous, good or bad, familiar or unknown. And over time, these filing systems became so automatic, so unconscious, that we stopped noticing we had choices about which files to keep open and which ones to gently close. The past became comfortable not because it was pleasant, but because it was known. Even when our old patterns caused us pain, they felt safer than the unknown territory of change. Our minds learned to prefer the devil we knew to the angel we had never met. This is why someone might stay in a job that drains their spirit, or repeat relationship patterns that break their heart, or continue habits that harm their body. The familiar path, even when it leads to suffering, can feel safer than the uncertain path that might lead to joy. Our attachment to yesterday also comes from the way our minds naturally work. The human brain is designed to create stories, to make meaning from experiences, to build a sense of identity from the collection of everything that has happened to us. We begin to think we are our stories. We begin to believe that what happened to us is who we are. The woman who was betrayed begins to think she is someone who cannot trust. The man who failed at something important begins to think he is a failure. The child who was criticized begins to think they are not good enough. These stories become like invisible threads that connect us to our past, keeping us tethered to old versions of ourselves. We carry these stories with us everywhere we go, and they become the lens through which we see everything new that happens to us. When something wonderful occurs, we might think, this won't last because our story tells us that good things always end. When someone shows us kindness, we might think, they don't really know me because our story tells us we are unworthy of love. But here is what I want you to understand with every cell of your being. You are not your story. You are the author of your story, and authors always have the power to write new chapters. You are not the sum total of everything that has happened to you. You are the conscious awareness that experiences life, and that awareness is always fresh, always new, always capable of choosing differently. The reason we struggle to let go is often because we confuse letting go with forgetting or with saying that our experiences didn't matter. But letting go is not about erasing your history or pretending that difficult things didn't happen. Letting go is about loosening your grip on the past so that your hands are free to embrace what is here now. It is about honoring your journey while refusing to let your journey define your destination. When we hold tightly to the past, we pay a price that touches every aspect of our being. This price is often invisible at first, like a slow leak in a tire that gradually reduces our ability to move forward with ease and grace. But over time, the cost becomes undeniable, showing up in our bodies, our emotions, our relationships, and our capacity to experience joy. The physical body holds on to yesterday in ways that might surprise you. When we carry unresolved anger, it often settles into our shoulders and neck, creating tension that no amount of massage can permanently release. When we hold on to grief, it can settle into our chest, making it hard to breathe deeply, hard to feel the full expansion of life moving through us. When we carry guilt or shame, it often shows up in our digestive system, creating knots in our stomach, problems with eating, difficulty processing not just food but life itself. The body is so wise, so honest. It never lies to us about what we are carrying. While our minds can rationalize and explain away our pain, the body simply holds it, waiting patiently for us to pay attention, to listen to what it is trying to tell us. Headaches might be the body's way of saying, you are thinking too much about what went wrong. Back pain might be the body's way of saying, you are carrying too much that does not belong to you. Sleep problems might be the body's way of saying, your mind will not rest because it is still fighting old battles. Emotionally, living in the past creates a kind of emotional constipation. When we are focused on what happened yesterday, we have little room in our hearts for what is happening today. Joy becomes difficult to feel because we are braced for disappointment. Love becomes hard to receive because we are still protecting ourselves from old hurts. Peace becomes elusive because we are still at war with what was. This emotional blocking happens so gradually that we often don't notice it until we realize we haven't felt truly happy in months, or until we notice that we automatically say no to invitations, opportunities, adventures. We become like people living in houses with all the curtains drawn, wondering why everything feels so dark, forgetting that we are the ones who closed ourselves off from the light. Our relationships suffer when we live in the past because we end up relating to people through the filter of old experiences rather than seeing them as they actually are right now. We might meet someone wonderful but find ourselves waiting for them to hurt us the way someone else did years ago. We might push away love because love once left us. We might avoid vulnerability because vulnerability once led to pain. In this way, the past becomes a prison that keeps us from the very connections our hearts most deeply desire. Perhaps most heartbreakingly, when we are focused on yesterday, we miss the miracles that are happening right now. Life is constantly offering us gifts, small moments of beauty, unexpected kindnesses, opportunities for growth, chances to begin again. But when our attention is turned backward, when our energy is invested in what was rather than what is, these gifts pass by unnoticed, like flowers blooming beside a path we are too distracted to see. The energy it takes to hold on to the past is enormous. Think of it like trying to drive your car while keeping one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake. You might move forward, but it will be jerky, inefficient, and exhausting. When we hold on to yesterday while trying to live today, we divide our life force, splitting our power between what was and what is. This leaves us feeling drained, confused, stuck in a strange in-between place where we are neither fully in the past nor fully present. This divided attention also keeps us from accessing our full creative power. Creativity requires presence, focus, the ability to sense what wants to emerge in this moment. When part of our mind is busy replaying old scenes, analyzing past mistakes, or protecting us from imagined future threats based on past experiences, we cannot give ourselves fully to the creative process of living. We become like artists, trying to paint a new masterpiece while constantly looking over our shoulders at old canvases, wondering if we should have used different colors, different brush strokes, different themes. But what if I told you that right here, right now, in this very moment, you have access to more power than you have ever realized? What if the secret to transformation is not found in fixing the past or controlling the future, but in fully inhabiting the sacred space of now? This moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this is where all real change begins. This is where healing lives. This is where your true power has been waiting for you all along. The present moment is like a doorway that is always open, always available, always inviting us to step through into a completely different experience of life. But most of us walk past this doorway thousands of times each day without noticing it is there. We are so busy looking backward or forward that we miss the magic that is happening right where we are standing. In this moment, you are not your history. In this moment, you are not your mistakes. In this moment, you are not your limitations or your fears or your old patterns. In this moment, you are pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure potential. You are the space in which all experiences happen, but you are not defined by any single experience. You are the sky, and thoughts and feelings and memories are simply clouds passing through. Some clouds are dark and stormy, some are light and beautiful, but the sky itself remains unchanged, vast, and free. This is not just beautiful poetry. This is practical truth that can change everything about how you experience your life. When you truly understand that you are the awareness that witnesses your thoughts rather than the thoughts themselves, you begin to realize that you have choice about which thoughts you pay attention to, which thoughts you feed with your energy, which thoughts you allow to grow strong, and which ones you can gently let drift away. Right now, as you breathe in, you are creating your experience of this moment. Right now, as you choose what to focus your attention on, you are literally shaping your reality. This is not magical thinking. This is how the mind works. Your brain is constantly filtering millions of pieces of information, choosing what to notice and what to ignore based on what you believe is important. When you focus on what is wrong, your brain becomes brilliant at finding evidence of what is wrong. When you focus on what is possible, your brain becomes brilliant at finding evidence of what is possible. The thoughts you think right now are creating the feelings you feel right now. The feelings you feel right now are influencing the actions you take right now. The actions you take right now are creating the results you experience right now. This is the incredible power of presence. In this moment, you are literally authoring your experience of life. Most of us have been trained to believe that our thoughts just happen to us, like weather that we have no control over. We think a fearful thought and assume we must feel afraid. We think an angry thought and assume we must feel angry. We think a sad thought and assume we must feel sad. But this is backwards. You are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You are the thinker of your thoughts, and as the thinker, you have the power to choose new ones. This moment is also where you can interrupt the automatic replay of old stories and consciously choose to create new ones. Every time you catch yourself thinking an old, limiting thought and gently redirect your attention to something more loving, more hopeful, more aligned with who you want to be, you are literally rewiring your brain. You are creating new neural pathways, new habits of mind, new ways of being in the world. The power hidden in this moment is the power of conscious choice. In any moment, you can choose love over fear. You can choose gratitude over complaint. You can choose curiosity over judgment. You can choose possibility over limitation. These choices might seem small, but they are actually revolutionary acts that can transform your entire life experience. When you bring your full presence to this moment, you also gain access to an intelligence that is far greater than your thinking mind. This is the intelligence of your heart, your intuition, your deepest knowing. This intelligence knows things your mind cannot figure out. It knows the next right step even when the path is unclear. It knows how to heal even when healing seems impossible. It knows how to love even when love feels scary. But learning to let go of what has been gripping you so tightly requires tremendous gentleness with yourself. Letting go is not something you can force or rush or strong-arm into happening. It is more like learning to dance with life rather than fighting against it. It is like learning to open your hand rather than keeping it clenched in a tight fist. True release happens in layers, like peeling an onion. You might let go of one layer of an old hurt, only to discover there is another layer underneath. This is not failure. This is how healing works. Each layer you release makes you stronger, clearer, more free. Each layer you release creates more space in your heart for love, joy, peace, and all the beautiful experiences that are waiting to fill the space you create. The first step in gentle release is to stop fighting against what you are feeling. So many of us add suffering to our suffering by judging ourselves for having the feelings we have. We feel sad and then feel ashamed for feeling sad. We feel angry and then feel guilty for feeling angry. We feel afraid and then feel weak for feeling afraid. But fighting your feelings is like trying to push a beach ball underwater. It takes enormous effort and the ball always pops back up, often with even more force. Instead, we can learn to greet our feelings like old friends who have come to visit. We can say, "Hello, sadness. I see you are here. What do you need me to know?" We can say, "Hello, anger. I feel your fire. What are you trying to protect?" We can say, "Hello, fear. I sense your concern. What are you worried about?" When we stop fighting our feelings and start listening to them with compassion, they often have important messages for us. And once they feel heard, they naturally begin to soften and move through us. Resistance is also a natural part of the releasing process. Your mind might resist letting go because it has convinced itself that holding on is keeping you safe. It might whisper things like, if you let go of being angry at that person, they will think what they did was okay. Or, if you let go of feeling guilty about that mistake, you might make the same mistake again. Or, if you let go of worrying about that situation, something terrible might happen. These voices of resistance come from a part of you that loves you and wants to protect you, even though its methods are not actually protecting you at all. When you hear these voices, you can thank them for caring about you, and then gently explain that holding on to pain is not actually keeping you safe. It is keeping you stuck. You can reassure this protective part of yourself that letting go does not mean becoming careless or naive. It means becoming wise enough to know that your energy is precious and deserves to be invested in creating what you want, rather than maintaining what you don't want. Creating space for what wants to emerge requires patience with the process of change. Just as a garden needs time to grow after you plant new seeds, your life needs time to reorganize itself around your new choices. You might not see immediate external changes when you begin to release old patterns, but trust that something profound is shifting at the deepest levels of your being. The roots of transformation often grow in darkness before any new growth becomes visible above ground. One of the most powerful practices for gentle release is learning to breathe with whatever you are feeling instead of holding your breath against it. When we encounter emotional pain, our natural instinct is often to contract, to tighten, to hold our breath as if we could somehow protect ourselves from feeling what we are feeling. But this only intensifies the pain and keeps it trapped in our bodies. Instead, when you notice yourself carrying something from the past, try breathing into it rather than away from it. Imagine your breath as a gentle river that can carry whatever you are holding downstream and out to the ocean of healing. With each exhale, let yourself release just a little bit more. You don't have to let go of everything at once. Just breathe and trust that your breath knows how to carry away what no longer serves you. Now we come to one of the most transformative practices available to human beings, and also one of the most misunderstood. Forgiveness is not about pretending that harmful things didn't happen, or saying that hurtful behavior was acceptable, or even about reconciling with people who hurt you. Forgiveness is about setting yourself free from the prison of resentment. It is about choosing your own peace over the desire to make someone else pay for their mistakes. When we hold on to anger, blame, and resentment, we think we are punishing the people who hurt us. But resentment is like drinking poison and hoping someone else will get sick. The person we are angry at might be living their life completely unaware of our anger, while we carry the burning fire of resentment in our hearts every single day. We become the ones who suffer most from our own unwillingness to forgive. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. It is not about the other person at all. It is about freeing yourself from the exhausting job of carrying around anger and hurt. It is about deciding that your peace is more important than your pride. It is about choosing to invest your precious life energy in creating happiness rather than maintaining unhappiness. This does not mean you become a doormat or allow people to treat you badly. Forgiveness and boundaries can exist together beautifully. You can forgive someone for their past behavior while still protecting yourself from future harm. You can release resentment while still honoring your own needs and safety. You can let go of the desire for revenge while still seeking justice when appropriate. True forgiveness often begins with understanding that hurt people hurt people. This does not excuse harmful behavior, but it can help us see that the person who hurt us was probably acting from their own pain, their own fear, their own limited understanding. When we can see someone's actions as coming from their wounds rather than their wisdom, it becomes easier to feel compassion instead of hatred. Sometimes the person we most need to forgive is ourselves. Self-forgiveness might be the most challenging form of forgiveness because we know all our own thoughts, all our own motivations, all our own failures. We can be harsher judges of ourselves than we would ever be of anyone else. We replay our mistakes over and over, analyzing what we should have done differently, punishing ourselves for not being perfect. But self-forgiveness is also the most important form of forgiveness because the relationship you have with yourself is the foundation for every other relationship in your life. When you are harsh and critical with yourself, you will tend to be harsh and critical with others. When you cannot forgive your own mistakes, you will struggle to forgive the mistakes of others. When you refuse to show yourself compassion, you will find it difficult to show genuine compassion to anyone else. Self-forgiveness begins with understanding that you have always done the best you could with the knowledge, awareness, and emotional resources you had at the time. If you could have done better, you would have done better. The fact that you can see your mistakes now means you have grown, learned, evolved. Your past mistakes are not evidence that you are a bad person. They are evidence that you are a human person. And human people make mistakes as part of learning how to live. Forgiving yourself means treating yourself with the same kindness you would show a dear friend who was struggling. It means speaking to yourself with love instead of criticism. It means remembering that you are worthy of compassion, especially from yourself. It means understanding that guilt about past actions can motivate positive change, but shame about who you are serves no one. The practice of forgiveness is not a one-time event, but an ongoing choice you make again and again. You might forgive someone today and discover that anger comes back tomorrow. This does not mean you failed at forgiveness. It means forgiveness is a process, not a destination. Each time you choose forgiveness over resentment, you strengthen your capacity for peace. Each time you choose love over hatred, you become more free. Now that we have explored the power of the present moment and the freedom that comes through forgiveness, let us move into the beautiful realm of practical action. Because healing is not just about understanding, it is about embodying new ways of being in your daily life. It is about creating rituals and practices that support your freedom, that remind you of your power, that help you stay connected to the truth of who you are. The morning hours hold special magic for transformation because they set the tone for everything that follows. How you begin your day creates a foundation that either supports your growth or reinforces old patterns. Instead of reaching for your phone the moment you wake up and immediately filling your mind with other people's thoughts, news, and distractions, what if you gave yourself the gift of a few moments to connect with your own inner wisdom? One of the most powerful practices you can cultivate is beginning each day with a moment of gratitude, not because your life is perfect, but because gratitude shifts your entire nervous system from stress to peace. When you wake up, before your feet even touch the floor, place your hand on your heart and think of 3 things you can appreciate about your life right now. They can be simple things: the softness of your pillow, the fact that you slept through the night, the sunlight coming through your window. Gratitude is like tuning your internal radio to a station of love instead of a station of worry. You can also create a morning ritual of speaking kindly to yourself in the mirror. This might feel strange at first, especially if you are used to criticizing your appearance or focusing on what you think is wrong with you. But your relationship with your reflection is actually your relationship with yourself made visible. Stand in front of your mirror, look into your own eyes, and say something loving. It might be as simple as, "Good morning, beautiful," or "I love you," or "Today is going to be a wonderful day." Watch how this simple practice begins to shift not just how you feel about yourself, but how you move through the world. Breathing practices can become your portable peace toolkit, available to you anywhere, anytime you need to return to your center. Your breath is the bridge between your conscious mind and your unconscious body, between your thinking and your being. When you feel yourself getting pulled back into old patterns or stories, you can use your breath to anchor yourself in the present moment. Try this simple breathing practice. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4 counts, breathe out for 6 counts. The longer exhale activates your body's natural relaxation response. As you breathe in, imagine you are breathing in peace, love, possibility. As you breathe out, imagine you are releasing anything that no longer serves you. You can do this practice while sitting in traffic, waiting in line, or any time you feel yourself becoming tense or anxious. Movement is another powerful way to shift your energy and break free from old patterns. Your body holds memories and emotions, and sometimes the fastest way to release what you are carrying is to literally move it through your system. This does not have to be complicated exercise. It can be as simple as stretching your arms toward the sky, rolling your shoulders, taking a walk around the block, or dancing to your favorite song in your living room. When you move your body with intention, you are sending a message to your nervous system that it is safe to let go, safe to change, safe to feel good. You are also interrupting the physical patterns that keep old emotions trapped in your tissues. Many people discover that after moving their bodies, they feel clearer, lighter, more optimistic about their lives. Journaling can become a powerful practice for releasing the past and creating space for new possibilities. Writing by hand activates different parts of your brain than typing and can help you access deeper levels of insight and healing. You might try writing 3 pages every morning, letting whatever wants to come out flow onto the paper without editing or censoring yourself. This practice helps clear your mental space, much like taking a shower helps clear your physical space. You can also use journaling to dialogue with different parts of yourself. Write a letter to your past self, offering the understanding and compassion you needed then. Write a letter from your future self, sharing wisdom and encouragement. Write a letter to someone you need to forgive, saying everything you have been holding inside. You don't have to send these letters. The healing happens in the writing, in the honest expression of what has been held inside. Another powerful journaling practice is to write down your worries and fears, and then consciously choose to transform them into trust and possibility. If you write, "I am afraid I will never find love," you might transform that into, "I am open to receiving love in ways I have never imagined." If you write, "I am worried about money," you might transform that into, "I trust that I have everything I need and that new opportunities are always available to me." These practices are not about forcing yourself to feel positive when you feel sad or about pretending problems don't exist. They are about giving yourself tools to work with your thoughts and feelings consciously rather than being at their mercy. They are about remembering that you have choices, even when circumstances feel overwhelming. Your mind is like a garden, and your thoughts are like seeds. Every thought you think is planting something in the garden of your consciousness. When you think fearful thoughts repeatedly, you grow fear. When you think loving thoughts repeatedly, you grow love. When you think limiting thoughts repeatedly, you grow limitations. When you think expansive thoughts repeatedly, you grow possibilities. The beautiful truth about your brain is that it is constantly changing, constantly rewiring itself based on what you pay attention to and practice. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, but you can think of it as your brain's natural ability to learn new ways of being. Every time you choose a loving thought over a fearful one, every time you choose gratitude over complaint, every time you choose possibility over limitation, you are literally creating new neural pathways in your brain. This means that you are not stuck with the thought patterns you have had up until now. You are not doomed to repeat the same mental habits for the rest of your life. You can train your mind the same way you might train your body, with patience, consistency, and gentle repetition. You can become stronger mentally and emotionally, not by forcing yourself to be different, but by practicing new ways of thinking until they become natural. One of the most effective ways to rewire your mind is through the conscious use of affirmations. Affirmations are not about lying to yourself or pretending everything is perfect when it isn't. They are about choosing to focus your mental energy on what you want to create rather than what you want to avoid. They are about speaking to yourself the way a loving parent would speak to a beloved child. When you say, "I am worthy of love," you might not believe it completely at first, but you are planting a seed of worthiness in your consciousness. When you say, "I am capable of healing," you might feel doubtful, but you are watering the garden of possibility. When you say, "Life is supporting me," you might feel resistant, but you are opening your mind to evidence of support that you might not have noticed before. The key to effective affirmations is to choose ones that feel like a stretch but not a lie. If saying "I am perfect" feels completely false to you, you might try "I am learning to love and accept myself," or "I am doing the best I can." If saying "I have unlimited abundance" feels untrue, you might try "I am open to receiving good things," or "I trust that I have what I need." It is also important to catch yourself when your mind starts running old programs and gently redirect your attention. This is not about fighting your thoughts or judging yourself for having them. It is about becoming aware of your mental habits and consciously choosing to practice new ones. When you notice yourself thinking, "Nothing ever works out for me," you can pause and choose to think, "Something wonderful could happen today." When you catch yourself thinking, "I always mess things up," you can shift to, "I am learning and growing every day." This work requires tremendous patience and compassion with yourself. Your mind has been practicing old patterns for years, maybe decades. It will not change overnight, and there will be days when you forget to practice, days when old thoughts feel stronger than new ones, days when you feel like you are not making any progress at all. This is completely normal and part of the process. The important thing is to keep coming back to your practices with gentleness rather than self-criticism. Each time you remember to choose a loving thought, each time you remember to breathe consciously, each time you remember to speak kindly to yourself, you are succeeding. Progress is not about perfection, it is about direction. As long as you keep moving in the direction of greater love and freedom, you are exactly where you need to be. As you continue this beautiful work of releasing the past and embracing the present, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in how you experience your life. These changes might be so gradual that you don't notice them at first, like watching a flower bloom or a sunset unfold. But one day you will realize that you are responding to stress differently, that you are sleeping better, that you are enjoying simple pleasures more fully, that you are feeling more hopeful about your future. You might notice that you are less reactive to other people's moods and behaviors. Where you once would have felt hurt or angry, you might find yourself feeling curious or compassionate. You might discover that you are naturally making healthier choices about what you eat, how you spend your time, who you spend your time with. You might find yourself saying yes to opportunities that once would have scared you, or saying no to things that drain your energy. These shifts happen because as you heal your relationship with your past, you create space for your true self to emerge. Underneath all the old patterns and conditioning, there is a part of you that knows exactly who you are and what you need. This part of you has been waiting patiently for the noise of old stories to quiet down so it can speak to you more clearly. Your intuition might become stronger. You might find yourself knowing things without knowing how you know them. You might start having ideas that surprise you, making connections you have never made before, feeling drawn to new experiences or directions. This is your authentic self emerging from beneath the layers of protection and programming you have been carrying. Relationships often begin to shift as well. Some people might comment that you seem different, calmer, more peaceful. Some relationships might naturally fade as you outgrow old patterns of connection. Other relationships might deepen as you become more authentic and open. You might attract new people into your life who reflect the new energy you are cultivating. It is important to trust these changes even when they feel uncertain or unfamiliar. Growth often requires leaving behind what is comfortable and known for what is unknown, but more aligned with who you are becoming. This can feel scary sometimes, but it is also deeply exciting. You are not losing who you are. You are finding who you have always been underneath everything that was never really you. Sometimes the process of change brings up unexpected emotions. You might feel sadness for time you feel you wasted holding on to old patterns. You might feel anger about things that happened to you that you now realize you didn't deserve. You might feel fear about stepping into a new way of being. All of these feelings are normal and healthy parts of the healing process. Remember that healing is not linear. You might have days when you feel like you are flying, followed by days when you feel like you are crawling. You might make what feels like huge progress, only to find yourself back in an old pattern you thought you had released. This is not failure. This is how real, lasting change happens. Every step forward, even when followed by what feels like a step backward, is teaching you something important about yourself and your process. Celebrate your victories, especially the small ones. Notice when you respond to a situation differently than you would have in the past. Acknowledge when you catch yourself thinking an old thought and choose a new one. Appreciate when you feel peaceful for no particular reason, or when you notice beauty around you that you might have missed before. These moments of noticing are evidence that your work is creating real change in your life. Be patient with the timing of your transformation. Some things might shift quickly, while others might take longer to change. Trust that everything is unfolding in perfect timing, even when your impatient mind wants everything to happen faster. Seeds grow at their own pace, and so do human beings. Your job is not to control the timing, but to keep tending the garden of your consciousness with love and consistency. My beautiful friend, as we come to the close of our time together today, I want you to take a moment to feel what has shifted in you just from giving yourself this time, this attention, this loving consideration. Something has changed simply because you showed up for yourself today. Something has loosened simply because you were willing to look at your life with new eyes. Something has opened simply because you chose to believe that change was possible. You came here today carrying the weight of yesterday, and now you have tools to help you set that weight down gently, piece by piece, breath by breath. You came here today feeling perhaps stuck or lost, and now you know that this very moment contains all the power you need to begin creating the life you truly want to live. The work we have done together today is not something you do once and forget about. It is something you live, something you practice, something you return to again and again as you continue to grow and evolve. Think of it as learning a new language, the language of self-love, the language of presence, the language of possibility. The more you practice this language, the more fluent you become, until one day it becomes your natural way of being in the world. Remember that you do not have to make huge changes all at once. You do not have to revolutionize your entire life overnight. Real transformation happens through small, consistent choices made with love and awareness. Each morning you wake up, you have a fresh opportunity to choose differently. Each breath you take, you have a new chance to be present. Each thought you think, you have the power to choose love over fear. Trust yourself in this process. Trust that you know what you need, when you need it, how fast or slow to go. Trust that your heart will guide you toward what is healing and away from what is harmful. Trust that you are stronger than you think, more resilient than you know, more capable of change than you have been told. You are not broken and in need of fixing. You are whole and worthy of love exactly as you are right now. The work we do is not about becoming someone else. It is about removing the layers of protection and conditioning that have been covering up your true self. Underneath all the old stories and patterns, you are already perfect, already complete, already everything you need to be. And know that as you heal, as you grow, as you step more fully into your authentic power, you are not only transforming your own life, you are contributing to the healing of our whole world. Every person who chooses love over fear, peace over conflict, possibility over limitation, makes it easier for others to make those same choices. Your healing ripples out in ways you may never know, touching lives you may never meet, creating positive change in ways both seen and unseen. So go forward from this moment with gentleness and grace, knowing that you have everything you need inside you already. Go forward with patience for your process and compassion for your journey. Go forward with excitement about what is possible and gratitude for how far you have already come. This moment can change everything, and you are the one with the power to let it. Your new life is not waiting for you somewhere in the future. It is available to you right here, right now, in this sacred space of present moment awareness where all transformation begins. I love you, I believe in you, and I know with absolute certainty that the best of your life is not behind you but ahead of you, waiting to unfold in ways more beautiful than you can imagine. Let this be your moment of new beginning. Let this be where your freedom starts.